There's nothing you need to do right now, nothing to follow closely, nothing you'll miss if your attention drifts. This is a slow exploration, meant to be listened to in pieces or not listened to at all. If your thoughts wander, that is part of the design. Tonight we're spending time with a simple question. Why do dark stories, the Gothic, the Noir, the shadows, feel comforting instead of disturbing? It seems backward at first. These are stories of fog and silence and unresolved things, and yet we return to them late at night. We fall asleep to them. We reread them when the world feels too loud. There's something about darkness when it's contained that allows the mind to rest, not because it's cheerful, but because it's predictable, because it has edges. For the next hour, we'll move slowly through that idea, through literature, atmosphere, and the quiet psychology of the dark. There's no rush. We'll take our time. It begins with a paradox. Why would an anxious mind seek out shadows? Why, when the real world feels heavy, do we reach for stories about ruin and ghosts? The answer lies in containment. In the real world, anxiety has no edges. It spills over. It has no chapter break. But in a Gothic novel, the darkness is trapped in ink. The monster is bound by the margin of the page. You are the observer. You are behind the glass. To read a dark story is to visit a storm while sitting by a fire. The contrast creates the comfort. There is also the rhythm. Gothic stories move slowly. They respect the silence. A modern thriller wants to make your heart race. A dark classic wants to slow your heart down. Think of the settings we return to. The crumbling castle, the isolated manor, the foggy street. These places are quiet. They are removed from the noise of the telephone and the clock. In these stories, the problems are ancient, and an ancient problem feels less urgent than a modern one. When we read about a curse that has lingered for centuries or a ghost that has haunted a corridor for generations, time itself becomes stretched, diluted. The urgency drains away. If something has waited 100 years, it can wait through the night. And so can you. Let us move into the first space of comfort, the library. Why does a dark, enclosed room feel better than an open field at night? Evolutionary psychology calls this the Refuge Theory. When we are anxious, our brains are hyperscanning for threats. We look at the horizon. We watch for movement. It is exhausting work. But in a library, in a study with the heavy door closed, the horizon is gone. The walls limit the world. When the physical space shrinks, the mental load drops. You are not trapping yourself. You are filtering the world out. The dust, the old paper, the shadows in the corner, they are static. They do not change. And because they do not change, your brain is finally allowed to stop watching them. That is why we read Poe. Not for the fear, but for the architecture of the refuge. Picture a room where the walls are lined with oak. The wood is dark, aged by centuries of smoke and shadow. The shelves reach from the floor to the ceiling, a fortress of books. You are sitting in a high-backed leather chair. It creaks slightly as you settle in. A fire is dying in the grate, just glowing embers now. Red and orange pulses in the dark. The light in the room is low. It comes only from that fire and a single candle on the desk beside you. And listen to the room. It has a heaviness. The books absorb the sound. Thousands of pages, millions of words, all sleeping on the shelves. There is a smell of vanilla and almond, the chemical breakdown of old paper. Lignin turning into nostalgia. Dust motes dance in the small circle of candlelight. Nothing moves fast here. Time feels thick like syrup. The room is so quiet you can hear the wax of the candle dripping. A soft tick, irregular, unhurried. The fire shifts, and a log settles deeper into ash. The sound is barely there, a whisper of heat and carbon. Outside this room the world continues, but in here, in this contained darkness, it cannot reach you. The heavy door is closed, the thick curtains are drawn. The only light is what you have chosen. The only sound is what the room permits. In this room we remember the words of Edgar Allan Poe describing the House of Usher. Listen to the architecture of his melancholy. The room in which I found myself was very large and lofty. The windows were long, narrow, and pointed, and at so vast a distance from the black oaken floor as to be altogether inaccessible from within. Feeble gleams of encrimsoned light made their way through the trellised panes and served to render sufficiently distinct the more prominent objects around. The eye, however, struggled in vain to reach the remoter angles of the chamber, or the recesses of the vaulted and fretted ceiling. Dark draperies hung upon the walls. The general furniture was profuse, comfortless, antique, and tattered. Many books and musical instruments lay scattered about, but failed to give any vitality to the scene. I felt that I breathed an atmosphere of sorrow. An air of stern, deep, and irredeemable gloom hung over and pervaded all. This is the safety of enclosure, the comfort of the known perimeter. When Poe describes that room, he is describing a boundary. And boundaries, even sorrowful ones, are where the anxious mind finds rest. There is something else at work in these literary sanctuaries, the absence of expectation. In a modern space, everything is designed for productivity. The desk demands work. The phone demands attention. The clean white walls demand optimism and energy. But in a Gothic library, nothing demands anything. The books have already been written. The fire is already dying. The room has already aged. You are simply present. A visitor in a space that existed long before you and will exist long after. There is a strange freedom in that insignificance. Sit a while longer in this chair. Feel the leather beneath you. Cool at first, then warming to your body. The armrests are worn smooth by generations of hands. You are not the first to sit here in the dark. You will not be the last. The candle flame bends slightly, not from wind, but from the slow circulation of air in the room. It is breathing. The house itself is breathing, and so are you. Slower now, matching the pace of the room, and now let us leave the library, let us step outside. It is London, or perhaps Prague, or Paris. It is the 19th century. It is night. The streets are wet. You can hear the dampness. The cobblestones shine like the backs of black beetles under the gaslight. A fog has rolled in from the river. Why do we romanticize the fog? Why is a rainy London street more soothing than a sunny beach? The answer is sensory muting. The modern world is high contrast. Bright screens, flashing lights, constant movement. It creates a state of high cognitive load. Fog acts as nature's diffuser. It lowers the contrast. It blurs the sharp edges. It hides the clutter of the street. When you look at a foggy scene, your eyes have less work to do. There is less visual data to process. It creates a soft focus for the mind. We drift into these stories not because we want to be cold, but because we want the world to be quieted. We want the visual noise turned down. It is not a frightening fog, it is a blanket. It wraps around the street lamps, creating halos of yellow light. It dampens the sound of the city. The world ends 10 feet in front of you. You are walking alone, but you are not lonely. The collar of your coat is turned up against the chill. The air smells of coal smoke and rain and the river. You pass a window. Inside, a family is eating dinner. You see the warmth, but you remain in the cool air. You are a ghost passing through the city, unseen, safe in the gray. Your footsteps are muffled on the wet stone. Each step is soft. The fog swallows the sound almost before it is made. You hear a clock tower in the distance. The bells are dampened too. They ring, but the sound arrives muted like a memory of bells rather than bells themselves. There is a particular loneliness to these streets that is not painful. It is the loneliness of being unobserved, of moving through the world without friction. No one expects you. No one waits for you. You are simply walking, and that is enough. A carriage passes. You hear the horse's hooves first, a rhythmic clop softened by fog. The carriage emerges from the gray like a ship from mist. The driver is hunched against the cold, barely visible. Then it is gone again, swallowed back into the white. You are alone again, and it is a relief. Let the words of Charles Dickens paint the air around you from the opening of Bleak House. Fog everywhere. Fog up the river where it flows among green eights and meadows. Fog down the river where it rolls defiled among the tears of shipping and the waterside pollutions of a great and dirty city. Fog on the Essex marshes, fog on the Kentish heights. Fog creeping into the cabooses of collier brigs. Fog lying out on the yards and hovering in the rigging of great ships. Fog drooping on the gunwales of barges and small boats. Fog in the eyes and throats of ancient Greenwich pensioners, wheezing by the firesides of their wards. Fog in the stem and bowl of the afternoon pipe of the wrathful skipper down in his close cabin. Fog cruelly pinching the toes and fingers of his shivering little apprentice boy on deck. Chance people on the bridges peeping over the parapets into a nether sky of fog with fog all round them, as if they were up in a balloon and hanging in the misty clouds. Dickens understood that fog is democratic. It touches everything, the rich and the poor, the ship and the shore. When fog descends, all details are softened. All hierarchies are blurred. The world becomes simpler. And simplicity when you are tired is a kind of mercy. There is a particular aesthetic that these dark stories share. They favor the gradual over the sudden, the slow reveal over the shock. When you walk through fog, nothing jumps out at you. Things emerge slowly. A lamppost, a doorway, a figure in the distance walking away. This gradual unfolding matches the way a tired mind wants to process information. No sharp edges, no sudden demands, just a gentle, continuous flow of shadow and shape. You continue walking. The fog thickens. You can barely see your own hand in front of your face now. But you are not afraid. The fog is a privacy, a veil between you and the world. You could stand still in the middle of the street and no one would see you. You could sit on the steps of a church and be invisible. There is power in that invisibility, the power to rest without being watched. The fog begins to thin. The city falls away behind you. You are walking now on a path that leads out of town. The cobblestones give way to packed earth, then to rough stone. You are climbing. The air grows colder, sharper. The fog lifts, but the darkness remains. Above you, clouds move fast across the moon. You catch glimpses of silver light, then shadow again. You have reached the moors. The moors are an in-between place, not quite wilderness, not quite tamed. They stretch out in all directions, rolling hills of heather and rock. In the daylight, they might feel exposed, but at night, they feel vast and forgiving. In the distance, you see a single light, a manor house standing alone against the dark sky. Why are we drawn to these isolated places? The castle on the cliff, the estate surrounded by miles of empty land. These are places where help will not come quickly, where you are, by all logic, more vulnerable, and yet they feel like safety. The answer is simplicity of threat. In the modern world, danger is everywhere and nowhere. It is invisible. It is digital. It is in the news, in the mail, in the endless scroll of worry. But in a Gothic manor on the moors, the threats are clear. They are ghosts. They are storms. They are ancient secrets, and clear threats are easier to bear than ambiguous ones. You approach the manor. It is built of dark stone, gray and weathered. The windows are tall and narrow. A few are lit from within, warm yellow light spilling out into the night. But most are dark. The building looks as though it has stood here for centuries, and it has. The stones remember every storm that has passed over them, every winter that has tried to tear them down. And still, they stand. There is a strength in that endurance, a promise that some things last. Finally, we step out into the storm, the wind across the moors, the thunder rolling over an isolated manor. This seems counterintuitive. Why would a storm relax us? This is the concept of the sublime. The sublime is the feeling of witnessing something massive, something powerful, something indifferent to you. When you watch a storm from a window, you feel small. And strangely, that is a relief. If you are small, your worries are small. If the storm is raging outside, nothing is expected of you inside. The weather has canceled the world. You are granted permission to do nothing but exist. The wind rises. You can hear it now, a low howl that grows into a roar. It rushes across the moors, bending the heather, rattling the shutters of the manor. The sound is constant, overwhelming. It fills your ears and pushes out every other thought. Rain begins to fall, first as scattered drops, then as sheets. It hammers against the windows, against the stone walls, against the roof. The world is noise and water and wind. But you are inside. You are dry. You are warm. The storm is out there, and you are in here. And the walls between you are thick and strong. Listen now to the wind on the moors, described by Emily Bronte in Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights is the name of Mr. Heathcliff's dwelling. Wuthering being a significant provincial adjective, descriptive of the atmospheric tumult to which its station is exposed in stormy weather. Pure, bracing ventilation they must have up there at all times indeed. One may guess the power of the north wind blowing over the edge by the excessive slant of a few stunted firs at the end of the house, and by a range of gaunt thorns all stretching their limbs one way, as if craving alms of the sun. Happily, the architect had foresight to build it strong. The narrow windows are deeply set in the wall. and the corners defended with large jutting stones. The storm is beautiful in its indifference. It does not care about your deadlines. It does not care about your mistakes. It does not care about anything human at all. It simply is. And there is a strange comfort in being in the presence of something so much larger than yourself. It puts things in perspective. The argument you had yesterday, the email you forgot to send, the worry that has been gnawing at you. All of it is so small compared to the wind that is shaking the shutters. The storm is a reset, a reminder that the world is older and larger and more powerful than any of our individual concerns. You stand at the window and watch the lightning. It splits the sky, illuminating the moors for a brief, stark moment. You see everything, the shape of the land, the bent trees, the endless stretch of darkness. Then it is gone, and the thunder follows, rolling across the sky like furniture being dragged across the floor of heaven. You are safe. You are dry. The storm will pass, and until it does, there is nothing to do but wait and rest. And let the sound of the rain fill your mind until there is no room for anything else. There is a reason these dark stories have endured, a reason we return to them generation after generation. They offer something that bright, cheerful stories cannot. They offer permission to feel heavy. In a world that constantly demands positivity, productivity, and progress, Gothic stories say, it is okay to be tired. It is okay to feel the weight of things. It is okay to sit in the dark for a while. There is no forced optimism in a Gothic tale, no insistence that you look on the bright side. The characters in these stories are allowed to be melancholy, to be haunted, to move slowly through shadowed halls and feel the full weight of their solitude. And in witnessing that, we feel seen. We feel allowed to be where we are, to feel what we feel, without judgment, without rush. This is the gift of the contained darkness. It holds space for the parts of us that are weary, the parts that are uncertain, the parts that need to rest in the shadows for a while before stepping back into the light. Gothic stories are also stories of patience. They unfold slowly. They do not give easy answers. The mysteries linger. The ghosts do not always reveal themselves. The old houses keep their secrets. And that slowness, that willingness to let things remain unresolved, matches the pace of healing, of rest, of sleep. You cannot rush through a Gothic novel. You have to surrender to its rhythm, to its long descriptive passages, to its willingness to spend pages describing a room or a sunset or the sound of wind in the eaves. This is the opposite of the modern world, where everything is fast and bright and resolved within minutes. Gothic stories remind us that some things take time, that some questions do not have answers, that some shadows are meant to be sat with, not chased away. The storm passes. The wind settles down into a whisper. The rain becomes a gentle patter, then stops altogether. The library, the city, the moors, they are all quiet now. In the manor, the fire has burned down to embers. The candles have melted into pools of wax. The night is deep and still. Outside, the clouds part. The moon appears full in silver. It casts long shadows across the moors. Everything is washed clean. The air smells of rain and earth. Inside, you are warm. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. There is a particular kind of tiredness that comes at the end of a long journey through dark stories. It is not the exhaustion of fear. It is the pleasant heaviness of having traveled somewhere far away and returned home. You have walked through fog. You have sat in libraries. You have watched storms from windows. And now, you are here, in this moment, in this quiet. The shadows are no longer threatening. They are simply the absence of light. And in that absence, there is rest. We return to the room you are in. The screen is dim. The mind is slow. There is no more analysis tonight. No more theories. Just the safety of the container. The story is closed, but the feeling remains. The darkness is kind when it is chosen, when it is contained, when it is paired with warmth and safety and the knowledge that morning will come. But for now it is night, and night is for resting, for letting go of the bright, demanding world, for sinking into the shadows like sinking into deep water. You are safe here, in the drift, in the dark, in the quiet spaces between the words. Let the darkness hold you gently. A good night.
you.